right. Thanks for joining today, guys. We are on mistake number 3 today. If you haven't watched the previous 2 podcasts, we released mistake number 1 and mistake number 2 yesterday and the day before. So make sure you watch those. Today, we're going to be talking about confusing passive investing with no involvement. So let's talk about what passive actually means. Dustin, do you want to take that one?
Yeah. So I would say from my own experience, and I've had to learn this over a variety of deals, the fun way. It needs to be very clear in the operating agreement what the boundaries are, what authorities are had. Like I've had some capital partners we've given a lot of liberty to, but they're inexperienced, and we didn't spell out like, hey, you can make these decisions up to here. Anything else, we need a group vote, like that type of stuff. And so that's one way to look at it. And then the other is some people, they want, like we have investors that want the bonus depreciation on our properties, and they can't be passive. Like they need to be active in the properties. And so I think I'd say overall, just a lot of clarity on roles, duties, responsibilities, from just getting along perspective, but also if you really want to harness the tax benefits.
And let me add something on there, because when we talked about, confusing passive investing with no involvement, what first comes to my mind is you want to be an investor, you buy a property, you put some tenants in there, and then you disappear. And you think, hey, they're gonna pay the rents. Everything's good. Or even worse than that, you get a property manager, and then you completely take off thinking that the property manager is doing everything. So you can be a passive investor, but you have to water the plant. If you leave it in the sun, it is going to burn up. And so I was going through. My property manager, he sends me bills all the time, and I look at them and I let them go. I just try to keep my pulse on things. And I remember one time I got a bill, it was for the exact same thing that he billed me the week prior. Now, he wasn't trying to be nefarious or dishonest with me in any way, but it was really, that was something that had slipped through the cracks. And since I caught that and I called him up, a couple things happened. I saved some money, but most importantly, now my property manager, he knows that I'm watching things. And when they know you're watching things, they're going to be a lot more careful. Now, when let's say you're a property manager, you're an honest person, you have integrity, but if you're given so much liberty and you know your owners are not going to be watching things, even though you're an honest person, you will start doing things a lot more sloppy. So it's super important. I say one of the most important things in passive investing is you can be passive, but you have to watch what's going on. And the first time you see something that is not correct, you call someone out on that. Once you call them out, they'll feel embarrassed, but that sting will stay with them. They'll respect you because they know you watch things, and they don't want to be embarrassed again. So passive investing, that's fine, but you always need to keep your pulse on things.
What about in terms of a flip? If you're a passive investor in a flip, and maybe, or any acquisition, any strategy, and maybe you're kind of like a first time investor, you're green. How do you suggest keeping your pulse on things when the other partners are the ones kind of running the daily operations?
Well, so that's a good question. I mean, I guess this one is up for a debate, but can you be a passive investor in flips? I
know experienced flippers, they're going to definitely put some boundaries. They're not going to but at least the ones I've seen, they're probably communicating weekly or maybe every 2 weeks, like per Friday. And there's photos, a description. But they're not letting them call the capital partners calling the flippers like a Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Like, hey, what happened today? How's it going?
Right.
So some sort of middle ground. Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly, and thanks for that question, Audrey. I don't know because
Yeah,
I've
if you're
never
putting
done.
up capital, if you're putting up capital, but you're passive and you're not, as you're not in the day to day, how can you ensure that you're getting updates? Even like, let's say you buy a co-living property and you put in some capital and how do you know things are on time? Like timelines are running smoothly. How do you know that, if they're asking for more money, how do you know that it's legit? Like, I guess you got to trust your partners.
You know what? I would like to end this episode by saying, if you want to be a passive investor and you're a brand new investor, don't.
Yeah.
I mean, there are doctors out there. There are people that have a lot of money. They put money into passive investing, and that's fine. But if you're really new at this, get educated before you think you're a passive investor. I think it's very important.
Mm-hmm.